Um, I think dealing with frustration
Yeah.
depends on the season.
Mm-hmm.
This season is way different than I've never been like a yeller or anything like that, but I could definitely go into like a blank stare, almost isolated mode. I think this season, a lot of my frustration has come through a lot of crying. Like in the morning, it's like, Lord, I'm here. I want to slap somebody. I don't know what I'm doing. I
Yep.
don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's come through tears, but something that I think about frustration is that we don't give enough credit to is that we're allowed to feel what we feel.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we should act on it, but I think sometimes we had talked about it in the episode before. We don't have to spiritually bypass the feelings part because that's a real part. You know, you'd be like, I just grind this out. I'll go to the next thing. I think that's when frustration starts to pile up.
Yeah, I think also like even in marriage though, when you're frustrated about a matter, if it has nothing even to do with each other or even the family situation, or you no, it could be the family situation, but just knowing like I know when you've had enough. Like
How do you know so
you
people get
usually like just like throw the tablet in the garbage or something like that. Right? I'll be like, babe, go get the tablet out
I've
the
only
garbage.
done I've done that once.
Or babe, like literally, you be like, say another word, I'm gonna throw this Dunkin' bag out the window, and I know for a fact that if they say another word,
It's
you're
gotta
gonna
go
throw
out the
it.
window. Yeah, it's still.
So in those moments, that's when I be like, dang, I got you. Go ahead and you know what I'm saying.
Okay. So I like that because that says growth for our relationship. So here's a story that you might remember.
Uh-oh.
We were having a disagreement walking, and Leah was young enough to drive that little car she had, and she just kept running it into me,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "No, stop!" And we were already heated, and she just kept running it into me,
Uh-huh. What'd you
and
do?
she ran it into me, and I picked it up, and I threw it.
Uh-huh.
Now, I would never like throw it at her, and I just threw it.
Okay.
But I knew then I was past the frustration standpoint.
Yeah.
It was already brewing earlier, and like I learned through therapy that take a time, like tell the person you're with, can I take a time out right now to pause this and come back because I feel myself. I might make a decision, or I may just say the wrong thing. Now, like that sounds cheesy, but it's like I don't want to have to repair something that I didn't have to repair if I take a time out. And so that day, I pick up the car and I throw it.
I think no, I remember now that you say it. And I'm like, dang, that's not what I did, yo. But not Drew Coates. But I do know that especially when you suppress, like especially when you're sacrificing for your family, you sacrifice what you really want to do and say constantly if you are really being a mindful and emotionally like in tune parent or even spouse. Like you know sometimes like, yo, this is not the right moment to say this. And I have grown from that too, because I remember when we first got married, I was like, if I feel it, if I smell it, I'm gonna say it. And it's like, that's not wisdom. Like, it might not be the right timing. You will not get the outcome that you're even looking for because you know this person is already frustrated or whatever's going on. So it's like, just hold that thought until a better moment and you'll be all right. But if you hold that thought for too long and then another thing comes and you hold that thought and another thing, then all of a sudden you're like a boiling pot. You're like a pressure cooker. Yeah. And it's like the moment that somebody even like tap the top of your pressure cooker is like exploding, you know? And so I've learned that you can't do that either. Like you gotta either go for a run, you gotta release it like from your body. A lot of times, even when we're sharing, we're releasing like that pent up like energy. And I'm not trying to say that in some weird way, but like, it's in your body. You're just holding it. It's like holding your breath. And like either you're going to let it out through a run. You know, a lot of people work out. Like they'll work it out. They're not even talking it out. They're just like getting it out through like bodily motion. And then they feel better. Not saying that they resolve the issues, but it feels better. They're not as...
So like, let's say now, being married now, if that same thing happened now, I got through the car or something like that. How would you approach it now with more wisdom or just more time seeing your spouse?
For you, like, it's different now. Like, before I would have probably put on that. Now I will be more direct with you, like, in love, being like, hey, man, I got this. Like, you go ahead on and run up to the house or whatever. Or maybe, like, continue to walk in. I'm going to bring her back and then I'll catch up with you. Like, I'll say something like that, you know, just to, like, let you know, like, yeah, I see you and, you know, you all right. But I just want to make sure y'all remain all right. Yeah. And that, you know what I'm saying? Just to be like an intermediary, because these kids will bring you there. Like, let's be clear. I always say, me and Drew, like, yo, we could be in a little cabin, 100 square feet.
Like the Tyler Perry movie we
saw? Like, right, in the mountains.
What was that movie called?
What was it called?
He just, shout out to Tyler Perry, because he's a beast. He's
doing his thing.
I don't know the name of the movie, but it's one that just came out. He was in the cabin.
She was in the cabin. She fell through the water type thing.
I was like, we could live in a cabin.
Yo, we would think about, we were like, yo, empty nesters. Yo, we would just, we don't even need we'd get a tiny home and be straight. We won't even, like, we'll never argue nothing. It'll be straight. We'll be right there and be cool. But when you bring other kids and stuff in the mix, you raising them, you teaching them, coaching them. You know what I'm saying? You trying to eat your food while you trying to get them to eat their food, and it's a lot.
It's a lot. And that frustration, I don't think parents allow themselves to feel that. Yeah. Because they feel, I shouldn't feel
that way.
It's a blessing from the Lord.
Listen, I gotta be honest with myself. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I shouldn't feel this way, but the fact of the matter is, I do. So I ain't gonna ignore, what I'm feeling.
So you said something that was key, I think. We can go a little bit deeper. I think the more you learn yourself and the more you learn your spouse and friends, you start to see, like, when they're getting frustrated, you start to realize it's probably not the thing that they're getting frustrated by is probably not what it is. Yeah. Today, had a frustrating moment where the little one, Malcolm X, she was being
Malcolm X.
She was being Malcolm X, and I told her, I was like, if you don't quiet your mouth, I'm gonna throw these donuts that you just got out the window. But what was really happening was, I have a hard time when kids aren't grateful. Yeah. And I was like, you don't realize we don't have to be doing this. Yeah. Because we don't have to be doing this. Right. And we just drove, we got it for you, you're about to have it when you get home. And you are still acting as if, like, we owe you, like, we owe you more. Right. Like, it's our fault that it's the evening time and they don't got sprinkled strawberries, frosted donuts, and sprinkles. And, like, but the thing about it is I get such a challenge because, like, I am on that whole, like, gentle parenting flow. Like, we do this. Only because. No, man, we do this. But it's like, there becomes, like, you gotta weigh it. You know what I mean? You gotta weigh when we can do the whole practices and everything with the gentle parenting and repeating back and getting eye level. Like, that's cool because it's really good. It works. It works for us when she's not on like she ain't walking in front of the nation. You feel me? Like, I'm just saying. Remember the Malcolm X movie? There was a difference when he was talking to his wife, Coretta. I mean, not Coretta. When he was talking to his wife, he was all gentle and loving and just, like, talking to her about the realities of life. But when he stepped in front of the nation, like when they were out there, it was a different base. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when she's there, she's always I don't want a gentle parent. She's not always a Cane Corso or Malcolm X. She had moments where she's really sweet. Yeah. It started from this morning. So this morning when we were getting ready to leave, you were like, take these color pencils, take these pencils and stuff so you could have it for the car. Yeah. And she got smart. I didn't even hear her. I won't go into detail. Okay. What exactly happened. I just heard you. I heard you correcting her. She said it, but more backseat. Oh. And I heard it from downstairs. Oh, okay. And she said it twice. The first time I was like,
Let it slide.
let it slide. And she said it again. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's go. I was like, because we got a long day ahead of us. Let's go upstairs and let's handle this. So I'm like, all right, she's gonna be cool. And it just kept piling. So one of the remedies we figured out when she's frustrated, she needs to play. She'll have connection often, but she needs to get outside.
But you mean she needs to play before she get frustrated? She get frustrated from not playing.
They both almost. But you learn yourself, you learn your spouse, you learn when they're frustrated. We didn't know this earlier in our relationship. You learn that, hey, this person's on my team. So how do I set them up not to have the rest of the day be frustrating? I think it was one day, I think last week, something you had did. I don't know if you knew I was frustrated. I was just fed up with something. And you took the girls. Like, you took them for an hour. And, like, my head was quiet. The house was quiet. I think I was about to take a nap. But I just sat. I just, like, wrote. And I was like, you learn those things because you're going to get frustrated. Like, that has been the main how perfect the situation is. But I think learning that things in friendships and relationships, you learn, how do I help this person if I can, so that the rest of the day isn't frustrating, because there's going to be a bad day now. We didn't do that in the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah.
I think it was like, you're frustrated, that's your problem. Like you need to handle that. Like, I'm good. And then now both of y'all going to be bad.
Yeah, and then we have a unique dynamic. Maybe not so unique. Maybe some others. Okay. We had a 19-year-old and a 6-year-old, and then, of course, Drew and I. So whenever we go out, it's like a process, because the 19-year-old is in her own little world, okay, and we love her, but she don't want nobody to interrupt that world many times. And then you got Malcolm X over here trying to figure out why 19-year-old don't want her in her world. You know what I'm saying? So then so the thing is, I told Drew, I was like, yo, the thing about it is, like, the 6-year-old be standing toe to toe.
Yeah, she don't.
Yo, she don't back down. So then it's like, so we be like, all right, y'all, like, for real, chill out. You know what I mean? Like, can we go where we going? You know what I'm saying? Like, today I was like, Drew, like, we went out. We'll share more about where we were. We'll have more clips of our adventure. But when our adventure, like, Drew was like, yo, just let's me and you go in here. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like,
was that right though?
I'm just saying, you said it, but
we felt the repercussion when we invited them.
I was like, but come on, they with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's let them have the fullness of this experience too. We already know what time it is. Man, we walking with them, trying to show them, you know, what we looking at and all this stuff. And they being them. You know what I'm saying? They being them. And Drew just like,
I told you this.
I told you, let them sit me on the bench.
Yo, boundaries.
Boundaries. But you know what though? Yes, boundaries are good. But one thing I will say, this has changed about us from the beginning of our marriage, is that we're not trying to safeguard each other from the fullness of the experience.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
So I'm like, yo, let's not believe like, oh, this is gonna be,
no.
You know, you wrote, like you said, people say romanticize it. We romanticize it because we abstain from the fullness of the experience. Now let's go ahead and have all four of us up in this space.
We know, like, from year one, not even year one. First 3 months, we just thought like, yo, this is gonna be just flowing and peaceful, and we got whooped immediately.
Whoop.
Now it's like,
y'all about to be out of order. Look at that.
Now it's more so like, yo, let's. We can't control them, but we can control us to be like, yo, stop talking to them at this moment or whatever. So with frustrations, you learn how to help the people around you, and I think that's something that God has challenged us with these last couple months, with understanding your family, like understanding their temperaments and things like that. Something that I got wrong a lot was Jamaica would say, you know, when I'm frustrated, like I don't really need logic. Like, come give me a hug, like, you know. Now for me and maybe for other men, I was like, why would a hug help you at the moment where like you're in straight beast mode right now. I'm thinking like, why would a hug help? Until I realized, oh, that whatever that hug is gonna do for her, it's gonna help her not stay in that frustration, and then that comes into something that turns into something else. But it's going to help us. How do you know or you learn that what my spouse needs when they're frustrated is not necessarily what I need?
It's not necessarily what I need. I think you just come to learn each other. Like, point in case, practical application. When we go to hotels and stuff, like, because I have a tendency, and it is actually a trauma response that I am literally facing and processing, is I will check out, right? Like, literally, I'll have, like, these moments where if I'm overwhelmed or overstimulated, I will just check out, right? And I'm present, but not present at the same time. I hope somebody understands exactly what I'm talking about. So when it's getting hot or the heat is up sometimes, all of us, especially when we're all together and we're doing things for like trips and stuff like that, like I'll be cool because I'm over here and literally almost disassociating sometimes. You know what I mean? And Drew, that's what it is. And Drew is like, his eyes all big, and he like, yo, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? But I've learned, like, when we do travel, right? Check out we'll post, hopefully, the next video after this. You can watch when we went to Great Wolf Lodge.
It's already out.
It's already out? Oh, great.
I'll link it to
You'll link it to this? But
we learned a lesson.
But no, that wasn't. This was actually.
No, that was better.
This was the outcome of a previous lesson. Okay, we learned that people might be like, okay, you know how they say 4 to a room or whatever. This fits 4. This fits 6. That doesn't work for us. Okay, we have learned to stop trying to fit our square into like existing holes, round holes. It's like, no, we're square. Okay. And so we need the suite, and we're gonna pay the extra charge. We don't care
for the peace.
For the peace that surpasses all understanding. So
tell them a little bit how we got to when we travel. There are certain things we have to do. There's a trip.
Yeah, because we took a trip and went some straight up like
a week too.
Yo, it was a week, and we were like, we can be together in one room. It's 250 square feet. We're a family. You know what I'm saying? Drew Drew had more gray hair when we left. I felt bad too, because like I was working at the same time. So I was like in training during the day. So you was at the beach and all this stuff with the kids at the pool and all this stuff and in the room with them. And
which would seem like it's a great relaxing thing.
Yeah, it's not relaxing when you got dynamics with Malcolm X and a 19-year-old that want to do her own thing. So yeah, we learned that from that experience. I was like, we will never do that again. We will pay the extra fee for us to have the suite where you have a separate room, right? So if you need to get away. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, think about it. Average 19-year-old, they don't want to be in the room with a 6-year-old. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be with their parents all like that. They want to do their own thing. And when you have your own dynamics, right? Yeah. And so it's like not taking advantage of like, all right, this is the lesson we learned. Like, we need space and stop trying to think like, oh, because we need space, that it's a problem. No, this is the dynamics of this square right here.
And I think we came to understanding that we can get along better when we know, hey, there are certain parameters that we don't cross, or we just can't. So even with the first trip that we took, with it being a week, we know too some of the frustrations come because they're spiritual attacks.
Yep.
There's a lot that happened that especially on that week.
Yep.
But we're like, well, the natural ones that we can prevent, let's prevent them. So when we went to Great Wolf Lodge, that was a better setup.
Yo, that thing is on the website, yo, that's what I'm saying, yo. I don't play. I quit school because of recess, okay? I don't play. When we went to the website and they had the rooms, that I saw the rooms. I said, that ain't going to work for us. A double bed or not, okay? When I saw the little separate room with the bunk beds in it,
That's all we needed.
I was like, boom, shaka, boom, boom.
So something that that we want to highlight is you're not trying to say like I'm going to live this world in a bubble where I'm not going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
But you just start knowing like, hey, what are my triggers? What are my levers? And how do I actually keep myself away from having to go enter into those things? Like we said today a couple times, Aaliyah cannot go out for a long distance until she has had some play outside. And we minimized it like, oh, let's just be out. And we felt it. So that's another one under the bucket. So when you're frustrated and you start finding buckets of peace or places where you be like, all right, I can change that and get different. I can do that differently. Make those some requirements. Like, hey, if we got to take a 5-hour drive somewhere, first thing we doing is how are we getting Leah outside? Let her burn some steam. Let her play. When she gets in the car, it's not her and the other one fighting in the back. What frustration? What has frustrated you this season with you and your walk with God? I got a couple.
For you? There's one thing to walk with God. Another thing for him to tell you to start walking. And it's like keep the fan behind you. I think that can be frustrating because you get so accustomed to walking behind him, and we know that is to be true, right? You walk behind him because you love him. You're in a relationship with him. You honor him. You know who he is in your life. But when he tells you to start, like, there's things that God has spoken many years ago. You know how people say, like, God told me something. He told me this is going to happen. He's going to do this. He got this call on my life, you know? And it ain't still come to the fullness of it. And then all of a sudden, bam, when you don't expect it, he's like, get out the boat. You know what I'm saying? Go, I send you as sheep amongst wolves. Like, go ahead on out and move on. But Peter, Satan has asked me to sift you as wheat, but I have prayed for you that your faith faileth not. It's like,
you don't sift it.
Just cancel. Uproot the request.
Say no, but I'm sifting.
But he's like, I know what's in you, and I know you about to tear this thing up over here so that many will be set free. Like, that's what can be frustrating sometimes. Because a lot of times you start weighing yourself. I know I weigh myself, be like, this ain't the right time. It's not an opportune time. This ain't the right moment. But it's like, there will never be the right moment.
I think something frustrating for me, which I had to come to heads with, is I don't want to say this statement because it sounds such like a cliche, and I don't hate the song, but it has gotten on my nerves because I've heard it so many times that my life is not my own. And that has been frustrating because you'd be like you said, as a parent, you give yourself up for your kids, their comforts, certain things, and you start asking yourself like, yo, where am I at in this equation, God? And he'd be like, you're in the right place. You'd be like, how? They'd be like, the things I'm going to you before, they're answering something totally different, or you're saying something totally different, and I'm coming to this. But I think the frustration is because it challenges our identity. Like it challenges who we once were versus who we are now. Like the things that we're talking about and going to do and thinking about, if we were to talk about those things year one, would have been like, that makes no sense. That does not add up on anybody's board. How are you even going to do any of that? Like, think about year one versus now. There's been so many sacrifices. Like God told Jamaica 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Quit your job.
Yep. Literally 3 years as of August.
Quit your job. And it wasn't like a yes, Lord. I came home like he told you, and then you got promoted
that's right.
a different position
Yep.
at the job.
Yep.
And then Jamaica's last sermon in Connecticut, I said quit, and we're like, all right, if he's saying that, all right. And then
I say promotion.
in the back, I'm like, Lord, this don't make no sense. Like, but that whole thing of him challenging our identity is to get us to actually conform more so into like not what he's just called us to be, but to come back to alignment with what he made us to actually do.